In an unprecedented geopolitical shift that is sending ripples across the globe, Burkina Faso's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, has received military support from Venezuela and Cuba, marking a significant moment in the realignment of global power and solidarity among anti-imperialist nations. The development comes at a time when Traore is cementing his position not just as a revolutionary figure within Africa, but as a bold symbol of South-South cooperation that defies traditional Western dominance. This historic alliance carries symbolic and strategic weight as it signals a potential birth of a new bloc, unified by shared ideologies, economic self-reliance, and military solidarity. In this 1,000-word exploration, we examine what this move means for Burkina Faso, the Sahel region, and the broader international balance of power. A revolutionary alliance, the background. Since taking power in a popular military uprising in 2022, Ibrahim Traore has positioned himself as a nationalist and Pan-Africanist figure committed to ending French neo-colonial influence and securing Burkina Faso's sovereignty. Under his leadership, the country expelled French troops, cut ties with foreign NGOs accused of espionage, and entered a regional alliance with Mali and Niger, the Alliance of Sahel States, US, to coordinate on defense and development. Meanwhile, both Cuba and Venezuela have long histories of resisting U.S. imperialism and providing international solidarity to other nations under siege. Their support has traditionally been symbolic through doctors, advisors, and political rhetoric, but this latest deployment of military troops to Burkina Faso represents a dramatic escalation in their involvement in Africa's post-colonial struggles. According to sources close to Ouagadougou's military command, troops from Cuba and Venezuela are not there for combat purposes, but as military advisors, logistical specialists, and tactical trainers. A move reminiscent of Cuban involvement in Angola during the Cold War. Why Burkina Faso? Why now? Burkina Faso has become a frontline state in the global war for political autonomy, natural resource control, and ideological freedom. Facing terrorism from jihadist groups, many of which have questionable ties to foreign intelligence operations, and internal sabotage from elite collaborators with foreign powers, Traore has sought to build a non-Western coalition of support. The arrival of Cuban and Venezuelan troops comes just months after Traore visited Russia and Iran, both of whom pledged technical and defense cooperation. But this alliance with Latin American nations adds a new dimension. It connects Africa's struggle not just with the BRICS countries, but with revolutionary Latin America, which has also suffered under sanctions, coups, and economic warfare. Analysts suggest that Traore is intentionally crafting a South-to-South solidarity arc, a vision of internationalism that connects the oppressed and resists the global capitalist structure enforced by the U.S., France, and NATO. Reactions from the West and the Sahel. Predictably, the West has responded with alarm and suspicion. French intelligence officials have leaked concerns about foreign militarization of the Sahel, while U.S. State Department representatives have quietly raised questions about external actors destabilizing an already volatile region. However, on the ground in Burkina Faso, the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Citizens have taken to social media to praise Traore for defending our sovereignty without begging the West. Others are hailing him as Africa's Fidel Castro, a reference to Cuba's iconic revolutionary who defied U.S. power for decades. In neighboring Mali and Niger, the move has further energized the idea of an independent Sahelian defense force. There's growing speculation that the EES bloc could formalize military cooperation with Cuba and Venezuela, potentially leading to joint training camps and military academies free from Western influence. The strategic significance. The strategic implications of this alliance are vast. For one, it strengthens the military capacity of Burkina Faso, which is currently battling insurgencies across its northern and eastern borders. Cuban and Venezuelan troops bring decades of asymmetric warfare experience, counterinsurgency strategy, and discipline honed in their own domestic struggles. Secondly, it sends a clear message to foreign actors, particularly France and the U.S., that the days of unchallenged influence in West Africa are over. As Burkina Faso pivots away from Western aid dependency, it is betting on a new model of resilience and strategic self-sufficiency. Third, it invites the potential formation of a non-aligned but active military bloc, similar in ambition, though not in structure, to the Warsaw Pact or the non-aligned movement. This bloc could include African nations, Latin American allies, and Asian powers like Iran, with a shared commitment to independence, resource nationalism, and anti-imperialism. Risks and challenges. Yet, this bold realignment is not without its risks. Traore must navigate internal opposition from pro-Western elements within the bureaucracy and military. There is also the threat of covert destabilization efforts, from media smear campaigns to possible assassination plots, reminiscent of tactics used in Latin America during the Cold War. Moreover, the international financial system remains heavily tilted against nations like Burkina Faso. The country faces the risk of sanctions, asset freezes, and economic blackmail if its pivot continues. Already, rumors swirl of international lenders tightening the noose around Burkina Faso's access to credit. But Traore's calculus appears clear. Better to face hardship with dignity than enjoy temporary aid under humiliation. A new global consciousness? The symbolism of Latin American troops on African soil, not as colonizers, but as comrades, cannot be overstated. For many African youth, it represents a shattering of mental borders, proof that black and brown people across continents can unite for their mutual liberation. Traore's speech during the arrival ceremony was telling. Today, our brothers from across the ocean stand with us, not to take, not to dictate, but to build and defend. This is the Africa we believe in. The event was live-streamed on Burkina Faso's national broadcaster, with visuals of Cuban and Venezuelan officers saluting the Burkinabe flag. In a world tired of Western double standards, the moment felt like a tectonic shift, a reawakening of hope, unity, and revolutionary possibility. Ibrahim Traore's decision to host troops from Venezuela and Cuba may go down in history as either a masterstroke of geopolitical strategy or a dangerous provocation. But one thing is clear. It has reignited global conversations about sovereignty, solidarity, and the multipolar world taking shape. As the West grapples with losing its grip on the global South, figures like Traore are stepping into the void, not as puppets of a new empire, but as architects of a new world. And if history remembers anything, it will remember that one young African captain, backed by the ghosts of Che Guevara and Thomas Sankara, dared to dream and act differently.